Well, Mason Greenwood update. United players are blocking his return this season. That's it. And Mason Greenwood is also thinking of not coming back to Manchester United and go away to China if at all United terminates his contract, because he believes that the team has not been there for him, or they never gave him the necessary support that he really deserved while undergoing or going through this. A story that I really don't really get in well, because what better way of really giving you support other than, more than leaving you on the website of the club, paying you 75 grand per week for the entire 1 year he has not been offering his service to Manchester United. I think that's the best support the club really deserves. But one will say that Mason Greenwood might be right, because Thomas Partey, after getting such allegations of rape and screenshots were floating all over social media, Arsenal stood by him and kept him in their team. That's it. They stood by him and kept him in their team, and he played for the club. So I think he might have had a point, and I know where these two situations differ from. The images that the girlfriend of Mason Greenwood really let out, that is Robinson Harriet, I think were really nasty. That's why the club really opted for that. But if at all it was really in court with no evidence, then I believe Greenwood would have stayed at Manchester United, and you would have gone ahead to embrace him as their player. So welcome to United Matters channel. Yesterday won a game of football by 2-1. Eric Ten Hag has gone ahead and reacted to the red card given to Casemiro. He has also hinted on United appealing for that red card in the shortest period of time possible. Then there is a story concerning a United player called Sabitzer. Eric Ten Hag coming out and really talking about him and how he really had his debut for Manchester United, though it was not a full one, but I believe it's really going to be a full debut for Sabitzer next Wednesday. That is the week that we are starting tomorrow. So Dean Henderson is also into this mix. We are going to discuss a little bit about him. So guys, you have every reason not to go away from this channel, because I'm really having a lot of information to give you and pass over to you on this channel. We started a little bit late because I really believe that if at all there is no game on Sunday, Sundays are recharging Sundays for me, because I need to rest, because most of the days I work from lunchtime till late in the night. And yesterday was really a very long day, because Arsenal was playing, Liverpool was playing, Manchester United was playing, so I had to handle matters of United Matters channel, that is strictly Manchester United, and those of Rokani Media Football. You know where you find me when you want to see my reaction to other teams like Arsenal and very many others. So smash the like button, guys, comment and share, and don't forget to subscribe, because we need to grow huge in numbers on this channel, because we want to hit 11,000 subscribers, and it's you to take us to that milestone. If at all you don't, then we won't be nowhere near that. Now, before the story of the players of United came in through, we first got a story coming in from Sun Sports, that is the Sun from England, letting us know that Greenwood would consider a move to China to revive his football career if United end his contract. The 21-year-old was reportedly unhappy that the club didn't stand with him. Let me first get this thing out of the way, that the club never stood with Greenwood. I think United stood with Greenwood in a very good way, because they never terminated his contract. That's it. They never took it as a breach of contract. They kept him on the website. Secondly, they never at any time came out and really issued a statement that could really pin him. One will ask, is that enough? It's enough, because if United went ahead to pull out his name on the website of Manchester United and his picture, and not even to include him in the squad of the Premier League that registered this season, that would have been one of the evidences being sent to the court that maybe even the club have really gone ahead to approve that the Greenwood guy was guilty. But them not doing that was standing with him. That's the best way to stand with your player. Secondly, they've been paying him 75 grand a week. I know he wanted some more, like they would have kept him in the club to keep playing until the court gave their verdict. But according to the images that the girlfriend really released, no way the club would have really stood that, because it was really nasty. It was really nasty. So Greenwood, I know his stand, but him going to China, if his contract is terminated by Manchester United, I think That's the best thing for him to do. The good thing is 21. You get? As I've always told you, that time is the best healer. He goes to China, if at all the contract is terminated, something that I believe is really hard for United to do because the player is innocent. He was proven or proved not guilty. Now, on what yardstick are you going to depend on to terminate his contract? Do you know what that means? That means United could cough close to 30 or 40 million pounds to compensate the contract of this guy. However much the salary of 2 years remaining on his contract is like 10 million euros, 10 million pounds. But there might be a termination contract because that will be a breach of contract by Manchester United. And I think that clause is there. When you breach the contract, there is an amount of money you're supposed to pay. So I believe it's going to be a very hard decision for United to take. But him going to China, I don't see him going to China because I believe there will be some other teams outside the Premier League or in Europe that will be really looking for him. Like in La Liga, Italian Serie A, Turkey, and very many other teams. But if he goes to China, that will be all about the spirit of money. He goes there for 2 years. He plays there for 2 years. Then he comes back in the Premier League because I know he's talented. He's making 22 in November, meaning that he would love to see himself start a season of 2023-2024 while playing the game of football. He's talented. He can get a big deal in China, make some good money, then he return. But I believe it's really going to be hard for United to come up with a position that terminates the contract of Greenwood. Then the players of Manchester United, after that story of Greenwood coming out, then the Sun also reported. It looks like the Sun is so close to this deal that they can, to this story, that they can almost touch it. Then they've told us that Manchester United players do not want Mason Greenwood back in the dressing room this season because they fear it will disrupt their process. For this, I agree with them. 100% stand with the players of Manchester United because Greenwood is coming in with his own problems in the club. The snag on him is really huge. It's not only going to affect the players, but the entire club. And how are the players affected? One, these players have their wives. These players have children who are girls. When they go back home, they will ask their fathers or their husbands that, how do you interact with a guy who went ahead and really clobbered his girlfriend like that? However much he was proved innocent, but the public court, especially women, I don't see them forgiving the guy. So that will keep tormenting the brains of these players. And the temperament of Greenwood has always been commented about as not being good at Old Trafford. Sorry, at Carrington. So I believe it's better for him not to return. For that, it's okay. And I know the person masterminding this. It's Marcus Rashford. You know why it's Marcus Rashford? When a story came out that the case was really dropped by CPS in Manchester, guess what happened? Rashford rushed onto his Instagram and said, now it's time to look forward and not back. Let's go team at Manchester United. Him saying this, he said this after he was named the Premier League player for the month of January and the Manchester United player for the month of January. Holding his two awards, he said this. Now, if you don't really read into this story a lot, you'll say that no, Rashford was not intending the story of Greenwood. Do you know that there is grudge at Manchester United? There is fight for being the poster boy of Manchester United. Trust me, Greenwood had come in at the age of 17 and had 100% shadowed Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford knows how talented this guy is, and he wouldn't love him to come at the club. Now, he's using the weapon right now that is available to fight Greenwood. And I know he's the one leading this in the dressing room, telling the players that boy shouldn't return here. He'll also tell the board he's too early to return for next season. But this season, we don't want Greenwood here. I think Rashford is spearheading this because he sees that he is really having the best of his season and no one should come in and disrupt him. The board listens a lot to Rashford right now than they would listen to Greenwood. However much Greenwood put in stats that Rashford never put out at the age of 17, 18, 19, 20. So, as it stands, it is really something that everyone will come in and really talk about. But I believe Rashford just never read it very well, even with players, because if Jadon Sancho, who was really having just a mere problem of stress, the manager never really allowed him to come to the squad immediately. He told him, go to Netherlands. He spent there close to 2 months. Then he returned. On his return, he never integrated with the team immediately. He did personal training, and then later he integrated him in the team. That's why we saw him in the match squad yesterday, and on Wednesday he came on and played 30 minutes as United beat Nottingham Forest in the semi-final, in the second leg of the semi-final of the Carabao Cup at Old Trafford. So even if the decision will be taken that United is welcoming back Mason Greenwood, he's not going to find himself into the team there and then. I believe Ten Hag knows the boy needs rehabilitation. He'll have the best place to send him to go through a process of like 1 or 2 months. Then he'll get back. Now, this is February, March. And if at all is to return, he'll return later, maybe in May, or towards the end of April. That's it. So, I believe the players coming out with that stance, it's really uncalled for, because if I'm a player, I would find it nasty to speak about my fellow player, because if you go out into the media and really put out something like that, then you are already drawing lines in between you and Mason Greenwood. Something that I believe we should all understand, that Greenwood is human, and human make mistakes. Error is human. So I see no reason as to why the players are really coming out and reacting like this. And it's really nasty, because they are really treating a player that was once with them in a very bad situation. But I understand their stand that he can come out and really disorganize the dressing room. He's coming in through will really cause havoc in the dressing room, because some players would be looking bad at him. But I think if he'll return in like April or late April or early May, because the manager can't allow him to come in immediately. So after that, let's go to the game yesterday that we played against Nottingham Forest. We all know Casemiro was red carded. Ten Hag said Casemiro crossed the line. You saw that. However, I'm unhappy with the inconsistent refereeing, not only this game, but also in the Palace game. They elbowed Martinez last week with Eriksson. That's it. Let's first start with the Casemiro side. I think you now know, people who are watching my live, that I told you Casemiro deserved a red card. He caused himself the situation. He invited the situation to happen to him. And even the manager is telling us that Casemiro crossed the line. He's admitting. But it's all about Jordan Ayew, who grabs the neck of Freddy first. He was not sent off. Schulop, who really sends Anthony to the billboards, is not sent off. He's given a yellow card. You get? So that's the most important thing and aspect as to why United was really complaining. To me, when it comes to Casemiro, I can't complain about Casemiro. I believe he really passed his limits. He went past his limits. But what was done to Schulop and Ayew, who also went past their limits, was not equivalent to a yellow card, is what we are really going on to slate. He talks about Martinez, and Martinez being elbowed in the game of Crystal Palace. You remember that very well. It was Mateta that really elbowed him, and that is supposed to be a red card. They never gave Mateta, was it Eduardo or Mateta? I think Eduardo. They never gave Eduardo much of orders. Eriksson, that foul that Ande Caro does to him, that has sent him out of the team for 3 months, he wasn't sent out. He wasn't sent off. He was sent off after fouling Casemiro. So I think the manager really has lots of things he's saying about, and a lot of information, and I think we are backing our manager onto that. Then Luke Shaw also had something to say, that we are extremely disappointed to lose Casemiro, but now it's a big opportunity for someone else to come in and make their mark on his team, on this team. show their qualities and why they are here. And I think he's talking about Sabitzer, because Sabitzer is the guy that is really going to come in through and really show why he's at Manchester United, because they went in and really bought him money. And Ten Hag, talking about Sabitzer, he says, Luke Shaw was hinting about Sabitzer, that someone should come in through and really play that position, and obviously it's Sabitzer. Then Ten Hag said he understands football. We've already seen that in training. He did quite well. He's really composed on the ball and he knows how to defend. We need that, and he also brings the right spirit. So I really just watched some 10-15 minutes of Sabitzer in a very, very terrible situation that was tense at Old Trafford. But he was a composed guy. He ran. He showed us the reason as to why he's here. He knows why he's here. His most important reason as to why he's here is put in the effort, convince Ten Hag, United cash in the summer for the player, because Bayern is willing to sell him. I've seen Bayern going in for a midfielder. What is his name? Konrad Laimer, meaning that they're ready to let Sabitzer go. And Ten Hag looks like, this might be the player I've been looking for, and I might get him on the cheap, around 30 million pounds paid to Bayern Munich, because Bayern bought him on 12 million pounds. Is it 12 million euros or 12 million pounds from RB Leipzig, because the player's contract was running down. I think was left with just 1 year on his contract. That's how Bayern really signed him. So he understands football. He already showed it in training. Very good on the ball, composed, and obviously United needs that, and he also brings the right spirit. So he's having the attributes of a real Erik Ten Hag player. So that's why Sabitzer is really welcome. And that's what Ten Hag really said about Sabitzer coming in through at Manchester United and playing in a very tough and intense game at that particular moment. Then he was asked about whether United will appeal for the red card of Casemiro, and he said, we have to think about it, but to be fair, when you freeze it, Casemiro is crossing the line. So that is a confirmation that no red card appeal for Casemiro. That's it. No red card appeal for Casemiro. And I think, to me, I see it as a blessing in disguise. I don't see why United fans are really mourning. You know, the reason as to why it would have been mourning is us coming to losing those 3 points at Old Trafford with a draw or a loss. But God helped us. The players put their bodies on the line, and we happened to get the 3 points home. The next 3 games that Casemiro doesn't play are Leeds, home and away, and Leicester. Guys, if we went away at Arsenal and gave them a game, you think we cannot beat Leeds without Casemiro? We can beat Leeds without Casemiro. We can beat Leicester without Casemiro. That's it. Let's let Casemiro rest, prepare for the game of Barcelona. And I think he has a grudge on Xavi because Xavi said that Casemiro cannot play at Barcelona. He's not a midfield type of Barcelona. That's what he said. But I know that was based on the grudge that Catalonia has on Madrid. So, but he can play. And we shouldn't plead for the red card, because when we plead and we are found guilty again, they might give Casemiro more 2 other games, hence missing out on the Carabao Cup final. So let's let Casemiro rest for these weeks. He plays next Thursday but 1 against Barcelona. Then they return to Old Trafford on the 23rd, 22nd. Then he rests and then plays in the Carabao Cup final on the 26th. I think to me is a blessing in disguise. Let this guy rest, because if I told you he was here, Ten Hag wouldn't have rested him not in any of those games. But he's going to be recharged, and those 3 games are really important. I wouldn't like to see United being knocked out of the UEFA Europa League. That's out. I wouldn't like us missing the title of the Carabao Cup. Casemiro is going to be rested. That means in a space of 2 weeks, Casemiro is going to be playing 3 games. That's it. Meaning that he's going to come in fresh on the 26th in the final to face a side known as Newcastle at Wembley. Not so? Those are my thoughts about it. And lastly, there is something concerning the loan watch. This guy who Erik Ten Hag talked to and said he's not going to return to Manchester United looks like his season is over. That's why they went in and signed Kyle Navas on loan from PSG. We've been told by John Passy, he's a Midlands football reporter, and you know that Nottingham is in the Midlands. New tests have revealed that Dean Henderson will be out longer than expected and could be sidelined for another 4 weeks. So it shows that if at all is to return, he'll return in March. So thank you guys for watching in. Through smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, lower right bottom corner is a place to be. Tell me your thoughts about United players blocking Greenwood return. Are you okay with it or not okay with it? Ten Hag says we are not going to appeal for Casemiro's red card. And what are your thoughts about the injury that Dean Henderson is having that has seen him extend his return date to 4 weeks from now? It's a Sunday. May the Almighty Lord shower you with his blessings. I'm out.